somewhere along the line, I must have pulled too hard on the handle on my kayak, right about there, and I caused a stress crack. So today I'm going to show you how I'm going to go about fixing that stress crack, and hope you enjoy. I have a Hobie Kayak that needs repair, and I think if you can see, I've got a stress crack right here from where the handle was pulling up and putting a little stress on it. So I'm going to do a repair and show you how to do this. So the very first thing you can see is I've got sharp ends on each side. So the first thing I need to do is to relieve the stress at each end by putting a small pilot hole to make the end round instead of such a sharp angle. I'm using my welding rod to point out a couple details here. So I drilled a hole here. You can't really see it, but between here and here there's a teeny little crack, and then there was a little teeny stress mark going off in this direction. So I put another drill there, and then it's hard to see because of the shadow, but there's another hole back here stopping that side. So basically I'm de-stressing all of these teeny little stress fractures. My next step is to take my Dremel tool with a burr on the end, and I've chosen a burr that's the size of the welding rod, and I'm going to grind in about halfway so that when I put down the welding rod, it has more surface area to grab to. Now you can see I've put in a little bit of a trench that's about the diameter of my welding rod and about halfway through the material. I didn't want to go all the way through because of course I need some surface area to weld to, but you can see that I've roughed up the surface and I've got a nice little trough there for me to weld into. Just doing a quick review of my setup that I'm going to do the welding with. You can weld with air, but nitrogen is much better for high density polyethylene. So I've got a standard welding regulator, and then I have the plastic welding regulator. It sends electricity and gas through this tube, and this is the welder. And so the welder is kind of like a soldering gun, but it heats up air, and then through the back you fill in the welding rod. You can see at the tip there's air that comes out that's hot, and it heats the rod up. Once I get the rod out there a little bit, there it goes. So it starts coming out here, and then it'll draw it out and weld it as it softens the plastic. So that's about the end of it. I am unable to weld and show you the welding process because I don't have a tripod in an area this way, but I'll show you afterwards. So this is what it looks like post-weld. Now I'm going to clean it up with the burr tool, and I'll show you after that. Okay, so now we are at the stage where I've cleaned it up with a burr, and now I'm going to sand just a little bit. So here's where we are after rough sanding with the Dremel tool. Now we're going to do just a teeny bit of hand sanding. And here is after 320 sanding. Now you can make this shiny again like the area around it if you just hit it with a little bit more heat, but I don't want to add any more stress to the area just to get a little bit better finish. Nobody sees this except me, so I'm going to leave it the way it is. So once you zoom back, you can see it a little bit, but it's no longer a crack and it's structurally sound.